Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Pinpointe Unfiltered. I'm Rachel.
And it's your boy Josh, the realtor of realtors. How's everybody doing today? We haven't added sound effects yet, Gary, so just bear with me. Um, Rachel, who is our guest today? Who are we talking with?
We have Gary Brown. He's one of the co founders of Furnished Quarters. And yeah, he can tell us all about what that is because if you're not familiar, you're missing out, guys. So Gary, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for
Um,
having me.
yeah, I guess let's just get started. Can you give us a little bit about, who you are, what you've done? Um, yeah, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. Well, brother Steve and I started the company back in 1998. In some ways, we followed my dad's footsteps. My dad, we grew up in Fairfield County, Connecticut. Dad had a high end furniture store, really cool spot. And Steve and I never wanted to go into the furniture business, but after spending about 15 years investing in New York City real estate, after we had some prior careers, I was a former attorney, CPA. That's what Dad wanted me to do. I did that for a few years, and just wasn't a good match. Steve started and worked for Macy's in their management trainee program, worked his way up, was a VP after about 10 years. But he and I, in our 20s, started investing in New York City real estate. And as we went forward with our careers, Steve opened up the New York Times one day and saw there was a whole section for furnished apartment rentals. And said, "Oh, we can do that. Maybe we make a few $100 more." And so we had at that time we owned some townhouses in Manhattan, some co-ops and condos. We said, all right. So we took one building, we furnished them all. Dad helped, and literally in a day, one open house, all 10 apartments in this walk-up townhouse on the Upper West Side on West 78th Street, rented. Mom and Dad were there for the open house. It was a really fun experience. And we said, all right, let's start furnishing some other properties. Not that we're that large, but we started doing that. And then what happened was one of our competitors, was actually a competitor of ours today, said, "Hey, we'd like to rent all your apartments, all your buildings." I said, well, why would you want to do that? And then we realized, oh, there's a whole industry called corporate housing. And today it's a $3 billion industry. People think Airbnb, but it's much different. It's, moving in with other people's stuff. It's beautifully furnished, et cetera. So that's kind of how we got our start.
Yeah, that's
Sweet.
that's awesome. I mean, it feels like you kind of it was kind of like kismet, right? It just you married two different things that you guys have had done, right?
Right. So Steve, like my brother Steve, he's into the design, which I don't have I have no design background at all. So he'll go twice a year to North Carolina with his furniture show, and all our apartments are beautifully furnished. We have our own in-house design team, which makes us totally unique in our space. So we're really into that design. At least my brother is. And been to Germany to a trade show for housewares. I mean, they're really into that. But as we got started at Furnished Quarters, uh, we were pretty well connected with some of the larger players in Manhattan real estate, and we started reaching out to them. Can we rent some of your apartments? And that's how we really started to grow our company. Did that in Manhattan. Now we're a global player. We're one of the largest corporate housing companies in the world, certainly in the U.S. Third of our inventory that we have is global. Outside the U.S. We lease properties. Besides our own in Manhattan. Uh, I don't want to make this sound salesy, but just tell you about our background. But we're in Jersey City and Hoboken. We're in White Plains, New York, Stamford, Connecticut, and then we're in the Boston, Cambridge area, as well as Northern California. And we're in San Francisco and Silicon Valley. But we partner with companies all over the globe who do similar things than us, so we can have that one client have one-stop shop. That's really critical for some of the larger, corporations that we work with. They don't want to call around to 20 corporate housing companies. They actually call them the service departments overseas. They want to
Hmm.
be able to make one call and book their people, wherever. So that's what we do.
Yeah, that's great. Um, so you mentioned like how you leveraged your relationships with New York City landlords. So I wanted to ask, like, how do you pitch them on the value of partnership? with furnished
Right.
quarters? And like, what do those relationships look like long term?
Yeah, that's a really big question because the negative some people might think is, do you really want to live? You're in a 300 unit high rise doorman building. All those amenities. You really want your neighbor changing every few months. Our average length of stay is about 100 days. Oh, we have some clients literally staying with us 10 years, which who knows why they
That's
do that.
crazy.
That is crazy, and we have a lot of
That's like
crazy.
people that live in hotels.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. So what we try to do is, well, first of all, the benefit to a landlord is when we move into an apartment, we like to stay for years. We're in buildings literally 20 years. So even when landlords tell you about their 3% vacancy, years and years on end, well, there's zero with us. Zero vacancy is a lot of do re mi in their pockets, so to speak.
Hmm.
So they like that.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
ch-
hard to argue.
Hard to
That's
argue,
very
zero.
hard to push that one back.
There's no turn costs, right? The average tenant in New York or any major city stays about 3 years. There's no turn costs. So, one check every month. We're good for it. We have a good track record there. Won't talk about COVID, but we worked through with our landlord partners during COVID. It was a really rough time for everybody in almost every
Sure. Yeah.
industry. But no, we have a great track record. We're real estate owners ourselves. We understand the landlord mentality, but our clients make good neighbors. They pay a lot of money for our apartments. So they're good people, professional people. So I think we do bring a lot of value to a landlord.
Yeah. I think, Josh, I don't know about you, but sometimes landlords that we work with aren't really into that, short term furnished. So it's refreshing to hear like, being able to create those partnerships, especially here in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, well, when you're leading with a 0% vacancy, like I said, if you have that type of track record, landlords will listen. They
Money
they will
talks, right?
stop at,
Yeah, yeah,
like, you
yeah.
know what? They'll pick up the phone. They'll pick up that phone call and they'll return those emails when you're working with that type of vacancy rate. But that's awesome. Gary, like 1998 was a long time ago. Like
98,
that's a
98,
very long time.
98.
That was a very long time ago.
It
How,
was.
like, as a basically, as a startup, how did you like sustain such, longevity and, be able to evolve with times given like how competitive, the hospitality and the real estate like market is?
You know what? I have to tell you, sometimes I say to myself, I've never worked so hard, right? Because things evolve and change. I mean, COVID was the perfect example. I never worked so hard during COVID and trying to work through that. I mean, come March 2020, maybe close to half of our clients certainly had to get on an airplane to come to visit and stay with us. How do you fix that? And to try to hold one of those clients to the lease, how dare they respond to me, how dare you, you know,
Hmm.
hold me to my contract,
Wow.
in during a pandemic. So now there's so much involved there, and thankfully, obviously, the U.S. government helped a lot. That was a big deal. Like all the money that was given out. You hear a lot of horrible stories, but that saved 150 jobs at Furnished Quarters. That certainly helped. But even going back to 9/11, right? So we had 32 apartments right in that war zone, and we had all the tech companies, the big banks or tech companies were staying with us, paying back then $5,000 a month, which is a lot of money for a first apartment.
Yeah, that's a lot back
Yeah.
then.
Well, then what happened then? Well, we didn't give up any of our units. We kept on paying rent to our landlords, but now we were renting apartments to the construction crews, the lighting
Hmm.
crews, working down there. So in essence, and even the day of 9/11, we had doormen and supers staying in our vacant apartments because they couldn't get home. So
Wow.
we're New
What a
Yorkers through and
service to
through.
the city. Yeah.
Yeah, you figure out a way to make it work. We didn't give up a single unit at 9/11 times. We kept our unit count the same, and we just figured it out. Same with the recession, 08, 09. You just find ways, and a lot of it is working with those relationships with your landlords because they're having a vacancy, and how do you work together, minimize the pain, through COVID and all that. So, there's a lot to get through the years, a lot of different cycles. I'm one of those guys that doesn't sweat the small stuff, and you just got to work through it.
It's fair.
No, I like
Um,
that. That's good.
yeah, I mean, I think during during COVID, I think I was in a cab, and, like, it was, like I think it was, like, after it must have been, like, the summertime of 2020. And the cabbie was kinda just saying, like, like, everybody always says that New York is dead, right? If it's 9/11, New York is dead. If it's '08, New York is dead. COVID, New York is dead. But every time, the city comes back, right? So, your story is no different. But I think every time that the city comes back, it's slightly different, right? Like it's kind of had to make a pivot, and I feel like in business that's always the thing, like you kind of always have to pivot. So, curious if you guys had to make any pivots in like the way that you guys operate or you're offering.
Well, certainly after COVID, major pivot, we would, very interesting. We were really hard set on nobody works from home prior to COVID. We want people in the office. Now we have team members in 21 states. Okay,
Wow.
so we're able now to hire. Not that there's not great talent in the New York City metropolitan area. There certainly is, but we certainly now have access to really the whole world. We have a few people sitting in Europe right now that work for us.
Nice.
So that's one pivot. We have recently required some folks to be back in the office. Now, our operation folks, through it all, they're out there on the streets of Manhattan and the other cities we're in, and they're working hard every day. So they have to come to work, right? But we have our guest services team back in the office. We just find to have that community to hear what other people are talking to clients and how they're talking, and mentorship and all that really does help. So, and there are some people who want that community, want to be in the office. So we have more and more people on their own saying, I want to be in the office away from my kids, my spouse, whomever, my cats and dogs. They want that community. I'm like that. I love going to the office. I'm a people person all the way. I just can't sit on the couch all day long like I am right now.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Um
Everybody gets a holiday every once in a while, you know?
Yeah,
that's for
I think
sure.
like I've seen that like myself, like, wanting to like, work from home and then kind of getting bored of being home and then like wanting to be in an office. Um and we see a lot now with a lot of tech companies, especially in New York, have like a huge return to office mandate. So it totally makes sense. I feel like um you know, there are some companies now that I'm noticing, I don't know how you guys do it, but there are some companies now in the city that are like, you have to be in the office 5 days a week. Um, I've seen some people say 6 days a week, which is crazy. Um, but and then there's people, that do like a hybrid, like, hey, you have to be here like, 3 or 4 times a week, totally get like, wanting that flexibility. What do you think about that?
Well, we've seen it all. We've seen all with clients as well. You like to see, especially let's talk about like Northern Cal. The tech industry, everybody worked from home. Everybody worked from home. And that was not great for our business and many others, right? The coffee shops,
Hmm.
the restaurants, and the dry cleaners
Yep.
and all that. So we are seeing the return to work mandates, Google and others, and that certainly brought business back to some of those areas that were really hurting. Um, I just, I, we have to all live with each other. We're not all in silos. It's not healthy in so many different ways. Just to stay at home. We're on our phones and et cetera way too much. Back in the day, I'm one of the new guys. We play in the park and take bike rides and do all those different things. We do that certainly to some extent, but not nearly enough. You got to be around each other. I think that's really, really important for your mental health and for your work, for the work as well.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna ask something and now I forgot.
Sorry, I was just reading something else. Sorry.
Good, we're doing good. We're doing great.
We're doing great here. So, you said you have, what was it, 21? You were in 21 cities?
Oh, we have team members,
Employees in
employees
Employees
in
in
21.
21
21.
cities,
Okay.
excluding 21 states. Tough on HR to be in 21 states and keep track of
Yeah,
everything
that's
because every state's a little bit different. So anytime you
yeah.
want to add one, I get a hard time. I get a little pushback there, but if it's important enough, we'll certainly do it.
Well, there's
Uh,
plenty of like new vendors, like new companies that manage that whole process for you.
I'm aware of that. In fact, I mentioned that to him very recently. So we've had that discussion. But also
Well, let me know if you
having,
want an intro. I can do that for you.
all right, well, I appreciate that. But now I also like my train of thought because I was going to go call on myself.
Sorry.
No, no worries. Oh, I was going to mention the rules, the work rules for folks overseas are all quite different.
Yeah.
So, in fact, yeah, you work overseas in the UK, let's for example, many more benefits than here in the US. That's what we certainly have learned.
Whole bunch of benefits. And then they kind of like have August as a de facto off time, right?
Yeah, for sure. No question.
Yeah. I love that some European countries have like mental health absences. I think it was Germany that you can just be like, I'm gonna be off for the next several months because I need a mental health break. And they can't like fire them. They can't replace them. Like they have to have their job when they come back. I don't know if it's crazy or remarkable. Maybe something in the middle.
It depends on what side of the coin you're on, I guess, right?
Yeah. Right. As a business owner, I'd probably think that's insane. Um, as somebody that has been an employee before, I'd probably think that's amazing.
As a business owner, it's really hard to totally shut down and go on vacation. I almost feel more relaxed when I get to look at my email, make sure things are
Mm,
okay, and who needs me for what. My wife may not like that so much, but it's just how I'm built. So
yeah,
yeah,
I hear
It's
you on
uh
that.
it's an ongoing argument that I have all the time. How I'm always attached to my phone. I'm glued to it. That's like
the work life
allegedly.
balance. I hear you. Going out
Yeah.
for dinner, I've done much better. The phone's with me, but I don't look at it.
So do you feel like you've gotten better, over time? Like your company is like, it been in existence for so long. Ours is just starting. And I feel like for us, like there's always something happening. But I don't know if it ever changes.
I can tell you that we have annual meetings, and I'm telling you, every year I get up there and I talk in front of the group, and I say we're better this year than we were last year. Uh, you hear about lifelong learning, and there's always something that we can do better at our company, and we find ways. And we have a lot of creative people that we bring in who have ideas, and you have to evolve within our industry. Our industry, the major shift in our industry is that now I'm talking sales, is there are so many companies who the traditional corporate housing companies have many of the large ones certainly have disappeared. Um, there are now platforms that companies seem to like to go to, where you go to a platform and you can have your selection of multiple uh, types of companies like a Furnished Quarters, and there it's one stop shop. So you don't have that direct relationship now with us. You're
Oh,
doing it through a
interesting.
platform. So that's changed dramatically in our industry, and all these large corporate housing companies have pretty much not all of them, but many of them have gone by the wayside. There are a lot of our industry is dominated by mom and pops, 100 units or less, and
Hmm. Hmm.
operating in one city. So that hasn't gone away, and you can do quite well if you can operate in such a way and efficient and give great, customer service. The large companies, though, a lot of them have gone by the wayside.
Interesting. Yeah. So earlier you mentioned like Airbnb and how you guys are very different from that.
Sure.
But I feel like, the world right now is packed with, short-term rentals. So you have like Airbnb, Sonder, Blue Ground. So what truly like, differentiates furnished quarters, and like how do you balance hospitality with real estate? Because I saw on your website that hospitality is like super important to you guys.
We are in the hospitality industry. 2 hour response time is number one for us. We may not solve your problem or answer your question in 2 hours. We're going to get back to you within 2 hours. It's all about, the product can be great. The physical apartment can be great. And a lot of companies have great. Some aren't so great, honestly. But that's, the barrier to entry. One is you better have somebody better open that door when they move in, and it better be great, not just okay. It's got to be clean. Everything's got to work. But beyond that, what our strength at our company is, it sounds cliche, is our people, and it's our service. We have veterans in the industry who've been in it almost as long as, or actually some longer than I have. Many, We have so many in our company who've been with us for over 10 years. So we have veterans of the industry and they know how to uh, give that great service. That's what it's all about. It's a lot. It's not so much. It's not so important to the department. Important, but again, what differentiates us from others and the successful companies, corporate and corporate housing space, is giving great guest service. We deal with major corporations, mid-sized companies for sure, individuals, and especially in the corporations and other companies, they just don't want noise. They want their employees to move in without a problem. They don't want to get phone calls at 3 a.m. at 12 o'clock. There's a big problem. We're set up for that. We're literally 24/7 to get a live furnished quarters person if there's a major problem, a flood, who knows what can happen. And things, I can tell you, things go wrong every day in people's homes, right? And we're
Hmm.
no different. Things are going to happen. Now, how do you fix that problem? How you react? How you going to make that customer feel like they're being heard and we're taking good care of them? We're not just going to send somebody to a website and fill out a form and come book with us. We're going to
Right,
talk to you
or a chatbot
yeah,
these
interact with
days.
us. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm sure lots of people still use, Airbnb or hotels and stuff, and I think that like hotels are supposed to be known for hospitality, but hotels that I've been to recently seem to be lacking in that department. um, and Airbnb definitely is like terrible in hospitality.
Well,
Um,
if you think about why people are coming to stay for 30, 60, 90 or days or longer, their life is has been uprooted. Some major event is happening. They're moving for a job, coming for a hospital stay. They might be getting divorced. All these things that happen to people, our people know you gotta show empathy that they're going through a life change. And the worst thing that can happen is the keys don't work when they arrive. Uh, the lights don't work. All sorts of things can happen. We had
right.
we had a major client move in. I mean, talk about learning every day. Client moves in the apartment very recently. It's a new client, a Fortune 100 client. We want everything to go well. And with this client, two things happened to two different of their employees in the same day within hours of each other. One, the apartment above them, the toilet leaked into their bathroom, so their bathroom was flooded out. We can't control that. Obviously, we
Nope.
talk to the building, we make sure they jump on it. And two, the second one was I'm out for dinner literally, and I get this message on my phone: the apartment has no power, nothing. The super went up, check, no power. Long story short, we had to move this guest to another apartment, and they were really gracious and fantastic. I got to tell you, others may not feel that same way. Trying to find out the next day, it's like, we pay our bill. Yes, we paid our bill. Con Edison, which is the local utility, off the wrong meter. They had, for whatever reason, I'm guessing a non-pay, they shut off the wrong meter. So there was no. So I've been doing this 27 years. That's never happened before. So sure enough, that
Shout
day
out to Con Ed for doing their job
yeah,
well.
like, now someone messed up or
Con
someone
Ed, lower
labeled
my
the
rate,
meters wrong.
please.
When I tell you, you learn every day things, I can't tell you how many times I say, I haven't seen that one before, but that one I haven't seen in 27 years. So they
That's
fixed the meter.
crazy.
The guy, the guy who loved the other apartment better. It was like a two bedrooms and a one bedroom. Sorry, we got to move back to the one bedroom. He was gracious about it. We paid for his Ubers back and forth. Apartment was only 10 blocks away. So,
Yeah.
bad things can happen, but service recovery was all about. They know they can trust us, and they understood, and that was a good result in the end. But it wasn't to have two things go so wrong with a major client, on the same day. It wasn't a good day.
Yeah. It doesn't sound like it would have been a good day. And
I can talk all day
at
long with
least
stories over the years, the thousands
yeah,
of times.
I mean, I'd love to hear them, but I feel like
Yeah,
that
no,
just
I don't
goes
want to
to
take all your
show.
time. Go ahead.
No, no, no. I mean, it just goes to show, like we were just talking about, how you have your phone at dinner, and
Oh
it's a
yeah,
good
well,
thing. It's a good thing in this
Good thing
case
you
that
had
you
that
did,
phone
right?
then.
yeah, it was blowing up. I knew something was wrong. I had to take it. And I was by
Fair.
myself, by the way. For that night,
Okay,
I was by myself, so that was totally
so that
okay.
worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So, it seems like the people you work with is, really important to you. So how do you decide like which partners or collaborators that to work with, whether it's like property owners or corporate clients, or I don't know if you work with relocation firms. But how do you make sure like they all, have the same service standards and, protect
Yeah, we work with
your
everybody
brand?
on the sales side, client side. everybody needs to come to, I mean, especially New York, but other major cities that we serve, there's all sorts of reasons why people come. Um, but you're asking about service. So service is critical, as I've been talking about. So it's really critical to make best friends with the doorman, the concierge, the porters, et cetera, at all the buildings that we're in, because they're the ones who are face to face with our clients all day long. So beyond holiday time, of course, we tip and do all that. We do everything possible to make them want to help us, make them like us, like our clients, and we'll bring, whether it's donuts, we do visits, and we'll bring coffee and donuts and so forth. And just let them know how much we appreciate them, because they don't work for us. Many of them are union employees, right? And they have their job to do. And sometimes I would say that we probably require more of their time than their typical tenant who stays for 3 years. And some of them, we have people moving up all the time, and they don't know where to put their trash and all these things. So in that respect, it's more work for them, and we recognize that. I just say we take good care of them. We have to.
Yeah, that's
No,
good.
it's
Yeah, we
important to take care of everyone that's a part of the assembly line. I'm a firm believer in that. There's at least once a month where I'm running around handing out envelopes to supers and stuff like that. So yeah, I get you.
But yeah, I mean, real estate brokers. My son is a broker. Everything's about relationships, right? You're selling an apartment, I'm sure, and you want certain things done to fix it up, and I'm sure you're going to rely often on the super to do things, and those relationships are quite important.
yeah, absolutely. Um, so do you guys at this point, do you guys have um your units are like all in one build? Like this is not the right question. Um, do you have properties where like you have the entire building only, or do you still have like just a couple units in
Gotcha.
here? Like
I know the question. So in
okay.
our own townhouses, we certainly have the whole building. A typical
Hmm.
townhouse is between 10 and largest one is 17 apartments. So we clearly have the entire building. Our bread and butter is we'll go into, say, a 300 unit building, and we'll take a minimum of five, as many as
Okay.
60 in a building. That's our,
Oh
our, our
wow.
highest
Wow.
amount in one building, but 60 in one building. Very difficult. I've seen it. I've seen others try to do it even larger, like take a whole building, 200 units. Very difficult to have a 200 unit corporate housing building, just your corporate housing full, occupied for enough of the time to make money, frankly.
Yeah, you
They're
can't
in that,
guarantee that 0% vacancy.
no, you don't get that at all. No, nobody
Yeah,
in
that's
corporate
a little
housing
bit
has
more
0%.
difficult.
Not even, if you're at 90%, you're killing it, frankly,
Hmm.
in corporate housing. Because there's so many turns between we call them guests, and you don't turn it. It's not like a hotel where someone moves out in the morning and they move in the afternoon. We space it by about 3 days. Even if you have 4 turns a year, 12 days of vacancy right there. 12 out of 365. You do the math. That's what 3 or 4% right there. Just automatic vacancy based upon turns. So, but we're in about 30 buildings in Manhattan, and we have all different types of property. I keep on talking about Manhattan. We're in other cities, of course, as well. But we have walk-up townhouses to super luxury buildings. We have tenants, guests paying 4,000 a month to over 100,000 a month. Um,
Wow.
yeah, well, we have clients who demand that. They're CEOs. They're living on Park Avenue. They're in a $40 million apartment, and there's a flood. Now the insurance companies come in and they give them a comparable apartment. So we rented full townhouses on behalf of clients while their renovation work is being done. So we really do cater to all budgets. Kind of unique in our industry how we do that. Our own in-house design team, that when something like that happens, now we got to design the apartment. We don't use our traditional furniture we have in most of our apartments, but we're going to put a higher end. Uh, we're gonna, decorate it to a higher end. Whatever they want, we're gonna put in there. You want a pool table, a special massage chair, do it. We'll design the apartment to whatever they want. So that's interesting. They have fun with that. Those are fun ones for the team. Things are a little different. Yeah.
With all this different like inventory that you have like you said, from the $4,000 apartment to let's say $100,000 apartment. obviously there's different landlords, different management companies that you have to
Sure.
kind of navigate.
Yeah.
Do you how do you manage all this? Like, I know as like, me and Rachel, when we have to like go through the list of landlords and how this landlord wants things is one way, another way. On your scale, it must be difficult. Any like tips that you could like provide?
Okay, so we have a team of three individuals who manage our lease renewals and those relationships for sure. Uh, I am very involved with that relationship. Um, Again, I would tell you when things go wrong, and they do, whether it's a tenant, guest, or a landlord has an issue, I get on the phone. I talk to a few of our guests every week. I just do. Because when they hear from the owner, it's far different than even if you're hearing from the senior VP of operations for Furnished Quarters. I think they feel like they're being heard when they talk to the owner. It's just a little different. So that's one thing that I'm quite involved with, and then I learn a lot as to what their experience is, why, and all that. So that's very helpful to me as I help to guide the team. But you just have to be tech savvy to keep track of everything that we do at Furnished Quarters. We are a big user of Salesforce.
Mm,
We're a super user, so it kind of tracks everything. Uh, you know, Uber reporting. I can see a conversation one of my salespeople had with a guest. I just, go into the account in Salesforce, a few clicks, and I could see what the last conversation was. Because everything that we do, we document because you don't know that, someone might be calling at 11 p.m. when someone in the morning shift, so to speak, was dealing with a guest on an issue and they don't want to start all over with the conversation. So it's
yeah,
really important that you document every phone call, every email. We're pretty good at that.
sweet. Um, so corporate apartments, I would assume that a lot of these companies want to have the lease in the corporation's name. How do you guys handle that? And how do you guys handle your leases with the New York City landlords?
Sure.
Because in our experience, New York City landlords hate corporate leases.
Well, it was more difficult in the early years than today. We're fortunate in that, how should I explain this? We're not institutionally owned. It's my brother and I. We're real estate owners ourselves. It's just that we don't have anybody really looking over our shoulder. We're privately owned, and that's quite helpful. Uh, on occasion, we might have to guarantee a lease or two, and that's pretty rare. But I think we're a well-established company, so that's really made things go much easier. When we go out of state, because we'll set up apartments in you name the city in the U.S. for a client, not for a 1 month lease, but certainly 3 months or more. We'll set up in Dallas or Des Moines or wherever. They don't know of us, and then that's a whole different story, and they'll start looking at a real credit review.
Mm,
But, we're
interesting.
established. We have relationships with some of the biggest named landlords. I don't think I should mention them right now in the city, but we do have those relationships. They'll write us a letter of recommendation anytime, given our track record. So that's really helpful.
That's awesome. And what about like the corporations that are um, guests
Come
in
to
your
us. Yeah.
properties? Do
So
they
we,
do they sign corporate leases or do they
they
put them in
do,
their
they
okay.
do. And sometimes they don't want it in their name. They want it in the employee's name. So we'll have to do a credit check on that, on their end as well.
Hmm.
But,
Interesting.
you know, if it's a well-known corporation, pretty much, you know, no credit check needed. IBM comes walking through the door, we don't have to check on IBM. So,
Are
but,
you sure?
yeah, well, hopefully. But, a startup, 3-person company, we're going to see some sort of financial information to get at the door.
Makes sense.
Um, so with these corporate clients, do you work with their HR teams? Do you work with like employees, like individual employees? How does
All
that
the
work?
above, a lot of these larger companies have mandates, so who you can use and so forth. Employees all day long ignore those mandates. They go on Airbnb and find us online and they book with us directly and then they get reimbursed. For the most part, we do work with HR, travel departments, uh, all the time. It's very, very common. And it's when we're out there selling, we certainly gear our energies toward, making those connections. And nothing like recurring business, right? You have a company that's relocating, 500 to 1,000 people every year. Those are companies that are, of course, we spend a lot of time trying to attract, and we are able to, given our size, to help those companies. And a lot easier to make that lean sales pitch and that client than, you know, booking individuals, right? It's one at a time, usually just one offs. We do plenty of individual business as well. Certainly, we're dominated by the corporates, but individuals are welcome and certainly are knocking on our door every day.
Okay.
Cool.
That's really interesting.
And as you know, you're like you said, a veteran in this field, in
Mhm.
this industry. Um, any trends for the future of what like temporary housing like could possibly look like? What are
Sure,
you thinking?
sure. Well, just you can look at current events. This uh, what do you call it? The H-1B visa. I mean, that is
Mm,
something that is troubling a lot of people in our industry. It's problematic. Uh, that's certainly not helping our business at all. So that's one thing that we have to deal with. Companies, they want to move an employee to U.S. and the delays are just incredible. So that's one thing that we have to be on the lookout for. And the U.S. doesn't have the best name out there today. Some people just don't want to come anymore, given what's going on, the environment that we're all living in. So that's certainly one trend. And I mentioned the platforms. More and more companies are going toward the platforms. But even in the platforms, we have clients who say, "Oh, when it comes to Northern California or Boston, Cambridge, et cetera, only use furnished quarters because they know us, they know the experience." So that's something that we navigate carefully. Respect the platforms; they do send us a lot of business, so to speak, as we're on like all of them. So, but that's a major trend. And I'll tell you that we're finding more and more of the high net worth individuals traveling and using corporate housing more than they ever have. Those $100,000, $50,000 monthly apartments, we're seeing a lot of that business of late for some reason. Not sure why, but that's been happening.
wow. All
Uh,
right.
Good to
yeah,
know.
Yeah.
it's good to know. Yeah, they're out. I
Yes.
always say people who have money have money, so
Yeah.
it's out there.
You were saying before that you have like, as an example, some companies that are relocating like 500 to 1,000 employees. Are they like relocating for a short term, like 3 months, or are they here for like a year, or like open ended? How does that usually work? Do
It's all the
you see?
above. A lot of it is on project work.
Hmm.
There's a lot of that going on always. People flying in for companies being bought or sold, attorneys for some legal cases. There's just so many different reasons why they're on temporary assignment. But then there's outright relocations,
Hmm.
and that's where you know you really got to cater to that client and making sure they're well taken care of because they're under again a stressful situation, moving an
Hmm.
entire family together, and we see a lot of that.
Yeah. So, not sure if you know much about us, but we recently started an entire relocation program.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, we help, we try to partner with companies that are relocating folks to New York, right? So because we only right now focus on New York. Um, and we have like an additional like white glove kind of service for, executives, people that are moving. So like we help them find temporary housing.
Mhm.
Obviously, we help them find permanent housing. If they're coming from abroad, we'll help them like, get a social security number, bank account, stuff like that. But if they're like moving with a family, we'll help them like figure out what schools they want their kids to go to and stuff like that. It like what you were saying, relocation is a little bit more hands-on, right? Um,
Mhm.
um, just curious, like, do you guys like work with relocation companies? Like, how's your experience in that? Because like I feel like in our experience, we've had people that are literally here for, like you said, a project. They're here for a few months to a year and they just want something furnished.
Sure.
They're in and out. And then there's some people that are like, they think they're going to be here for like 2, 3 years or longer. And they just want something temporary until they can find something long term. But a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to have to like buy furniture.
Of course.
So
Rachel, I
how
gotta
do you,
tell you, this is your best question today.
okay.
Because I'm gonna give you some
So
kudos.
basically I've had terrible questions before.
Right. Oh my gosh, they were no. Well, that's great. That's really cute. No, and shame on me for not really elevating the discussion about relocation. People say in our industry, maybe 1 out of every 2 stays is due to
Mhm.
relocation. Okay. One out of
Mm,
every 2. So when companies stop moving people around, everybody in our industry and everybody surrounding, it's not just corporate housing, is going to be hurting. So destination services, right? It's things that you talked about, the social security card, finding schools, houses of worship, um, maybe helping the spouse find a job. All those things are a big part of the relocation industry. And as I'm sure you know, there are major multi-billion-dollar companies that just do corporate relocation.
mhm,
Some of them are some of our largest clients. I don't know if we need to name names, but they're some major companies that that's all they do. And they have probably as many as 30 different vendor types help,
mhm.
helping someone move. Maybe you need to, language classes, all these different things that if you move, think about if you moved here to China, what are you going to need to get yourself and your husband or wife and your 2 kids and your dog? What are you going to need when you settle in there? It's more than just an apartment.
Yeah.
The whole industry, you're spot on. And I think you keep on, that's a direction where I think you hit on something, pretty important out there, what people need.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, we
that's the
started,
feedback we keep getting.
yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah,
thank you. It eases the anxiety a little bit, as we're making another pivot.
Yeah.
for sure. No, it's very it's complicated. There's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Moving the goods and in your car, and it just goes on and on. What we need
It
when,
is. And
when
like
yeah,
we've partnered with probably some of those large relocation companies
okay,
that you didn't
yeah,
exactly mention, which is fine.
right,
Um and what we have found and why we wanted to start this program is that like there's such a big disconnect from those companies and the people that they work with on the ground, like brokers, right?
sure,
Um, and Josh and I can talk about this at length. Like, a lot of these people are like, "Oh, well, do you know like when my furniture is going to get here, or what about my visa, or what about this?" And we're like, "Can't help you. There's another like person to contact. Oh, well, what about this person? Like, because they introduced like it's one person introduces another person that introduces another person that introduces. So there's like they have no idea who they're supposed to talk to. So we're not here to try to like fix the entire global mobility problem. Like
right,
there's
right,
that's not our expertise, right? Like I don't know how to get you here, but once you're here,
right.
Once you're here and you're in my hands, we're gonna take care of you. We're gonna set you up properly. We'll make you a New Yorker in no time.
yeah.
That's pretty much the
That's the
goal.
pitch. That's great.
Yeah. And then like, the other thing is like we're trying to work and partner directly with like tech companies and startups, right? Because this is new to them. And like I was mentioning earlier, they have a huge return to office mandate. Um, and I think um, one of the biggest like n- not it's not, it's an unknown, but it's not considered is like, okay, we hire somebody from Iowa. They have a start date that's like November 15th. Okay, cool. So they'll be here on November 15th, and that's where like the conversation stops, right? But how many times are they moving here, starting their job November 15th? They're in and out of Airbnbs or hotels and ducking out of work early to go find an apartment to chase this open house and talk to that broker to talk like finding an apartment in New York is a grind.
Well, within your budget is a grind, 100%.
Yeah.
So,
Within your
and
But
budget
you know
and
what?
expectations.
What I tell people is like, it doesn't matter if your budget's $2,000 or 20,000. You're always gonna want what's outside of your budget for what
oh, for
what you can
sure.
afford,
No matter what level
right?
you're at, Oh, I
Yeah,
agree with
everybody's like,
you.
"Oh, well, I'm sure that if I could afford $20,000 a month, if this would be no problem." No, it would still be a problem because you'd
Right.
still want a $50,000 apartment for 20,000.
I am with you. 100%.
Yeah. So, um, yeah, that's just what we're trying to do. And I love that, there's like this overlap between furnished quarters and us because like I literally just had a client that was just like, hey, obviously we want to help our new hires, relocate here, but also like we have a bunch of folks that are, abroad, and then we bring them here every couple of weeks, and we've just been putting them in hotels and lighting money on fire. But
Right.
um and then they're like, well, we've tried to get, to look at apartments, but everyone says no to a corporate lease.
Well, 30-day minimum for starters in New York.
Yeah,
You
well,
probably know that.
isn't that the law? Yeah.
That is the law. Yeah. And that's one thing we definitely do not break that law. We've had way back, gosh, it's going to be about 15 years ago. New York City was actually looking to change the law from 30 days to 90 days.
Hmm.
And I myself and a couple others, we lobbied. I mean, I was now in the political arena, talking to everybody but the mayor. We talked to the deputy mayor, congressman. It was quite interesting to talk to them all and just explain they didn't even know who we were back then. So, what good we do for the city and with the arts and all the different things. I mean, we have Broadway staying with us. Any movie in New York, they're staying with us. The people, the crew, and maybe not, Tom Hanks staying with us, but certainly other actors and directors and all sorts are staying with us. So we do a lot for the city for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else for
I would
me?
like to do this.
Yeah.
So advice you might have, like I said, you're a veteran
Yeah,
in this startup game, and you built it and it's scaled and it's inspiring. Any advice you could give for, young founders like ourselves?
sure.
Hit them. Let's go.
I
Let's
get you.
hear it.
I think it's all about exceeding client expectations. Uh, when you talk to a client, make sure you're hanging up that phone call, the next steps. They know what to expect from you before you hang up that phone call. So a week doesn't go by and they haven't heard from you. Well, there might be a reason why they haven't heard from you, but level set, what the next step is. And rather than coming at you, you set the tone, you set the calendar, so to speak, of what's going to happen next. That's probably the most important thing. And you got to be empathetic because they're under, I keep on saying it, they're under a lot of stress due to a move. So that is critical. And then when you hire other people, I don't know if you have any people working for you, mentor them and, understand they've got to buy into what you're trying to do for your clientele. We talk about our internal and external clients all the time. We got to make sure we have a happy crew because when you're talking to a guest on the phone, they want to know that you're smiling and that they can feel how you're feeling. And I think it's really critical to make sure that you have a great team environment, people that you live and work with all day long, right? More than some of your family members on time you spend with people you work with. So that's critical. And then it's all about relationships, right? You got to build relationships, be active in the community where you think it's important. That's just really, really critical. You can't sit home on the couch like I am right now.
Once we get to your level of success, right?
Uh, success is up for debate, but I'll just say
Well,
my brother and I,
being in business for
enjoyed
27 years is a success to
we
me.
survived 27 years. Sometimes like, wow, how the heck did we do it, right? So,
Yeah.
Listen,
but
I
here we
just
are.
want an office big enough that I could put a couch. Like
There you
I'll
go.
put the couch in the office and then I'll call myself
Well,
successful.
so Josh is sitting in our office right now, and it's big enough for a couch, but if we put a couch, we wouldn't have desks.
There you go. Yeah, going way back, I've always had a couch in my office. I still can remember the day when 9/11 happened. I actually had cable TV in my office. Why did I have a cable TV in my office when I was a lot younger? You want to know why? Because I freaking worked on the weekends, and I
Hmm.
would, I'm a big sports guy, so I'd have to put on my
Yeah.
game while I'm
I
working
need to
there.
watch the Mets. Exactly.
And so
Yeah.
don't get me started with the Mets. I'm a New
It's
York fan all the way, or the New York Giants, right?
Uh,
At least
it's
we have the Yankees. We still have the Yankees in it. Hopefully, they can win a few games here. Can be rough.
Let's see if they could pull one out for old New York. I
There
can't
you
root
go.
for the
Yeah.
Yankees. It's by nature it's against my belief system. But
Okay. I
but
root
you
for
know
the
what?
Mets.
I have enough Yankee fan friends that I feel
Great.
bad for them when they're walking around this
Do you?
depressed.
Okay. So you're Mets all the way and Yankees, forget it.
Exactly.
I get it. Okay.
Well,
Awesome. All right.
I think that's
So,
all right.
yeah, unless Gary, you have any questions for us?
No, I mean, happy to work with
Cool.
you.
Yeah.
After this, this call, if you guys have questions, feel free to follow up. I think you have my email.
I don't
Happy to
no,
work
actually
with
we
you.
don't.
You don't. My email is quite easy. It's just Gary, Gary, at furnishedquarters.com. I
Awesome.
always say
Got it.
furnished as an ED and quarters with an S at the end. But anybody out there listening, have any questions, give me an email. Happy to entertain any questions that you have.
Awesome.
Awesome. And you
Thanks.
just
Yeah,
took
we would
care of
love
my
to.
part. So like
Yeah.
you told the people where they could find you. Awesome.
So,
Um
okay, that's your part. Okay.
that's
Yeah.
those are my lines, Gary. Come on.
Okay, that's all right.
I'm not just a pretty face here.
Okay.
Rach, where can the people find us?
We are everywhere. So website pinpoint.nyc, LinkedIn Pinpoint Group, Instagram Pinpoint Group with an underscore. Um, you can find me, Rachel Fiegler, on LinkedIn. And what else? Our podcast, Pinpoint Unfiltered. You can find it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. And I think that's it. Josh, what about you?
Newly baptized in the world of LinkedIn now, so you can find me at LinkedIn, Josh Hernandez. My old tag, Gary, you have inspired me today with the couch sitting. My old
Okay.
like tagline used to be, "You could find me in the streets making these deals." But my new goal is you're going to be able to find me on the couch because we've made so many deals in the streets that I brought the couch to the office. So people find me on the couch someplace. Thank you, Gary, for blessing us with your presence. It
Yeah,
was a great, informative, very, very inspiring. I can't wait to get to 20 plus years. That is amazing. I love that, especially that you did it with the family. That's great. Rach, I love you. Thank you so
I
much.
love you.
It's been a blast, people. Thank you.
Gary, thank you so much.
It was
We'll
a
be
lot of fun,
talking
guys.
soon. Yeah,
All right. Good luck
glad
with
you had
everything. Be
fun.
well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care.